Do you guys remember those slumber parties you used to have when you were little? First of all, they always sounded like they were going to be the most fun thing ever. But then when you actually did them, it turned out to be like the worst experience of all time. Especially when you had like a birthday sleepover and you had like five friends spend the night. You always had one kid who freaked out and wanted to go home. And he always freaked out like way too early in the evening. Remember, he'd get scared. He'd start doing the crying. Not like adult crying, but like kid crying, where they were like trying to catch their breath. Snot was dangling out of their nose. And the snot would never break. The snot would hang there the entire conversation. They were sitting there, they were like weeping, and all you could look at was this snot just dangling, like Tom Cruise on a grappling hook in like Mission Impossible 2. It wouldn't break. Kid snot, I don't know what's in it. Super glue? And they would do the kid cry thing where they'd be like still trying to talk. They'd be like, one, two, go, scared, can't stay here, I need to go home, I hate this house. And it's like, dude, it is 6:15, you pussy. You live across the street. Look out the door. We can see your mom in the kitchen. It's not like she went to Abu Dhabi. Calm down. It's not like you're never going to see your parents again. It's one night, you loser. First of all, that kid was like the biggest pussy ever. Like you never respected that kid again, right? And never again after that day could that kid ever pretend to be a badass. Like, even when you saw that kid, like, 10 years later in high school, and he had, like, the bad teenage facial hair, and he had, like, gotten bigger, and he was, like, selling drugs, you knew. You knew what was going on inside. You knew he was a straight-up punk bitch. Then there was always the kid that's like, we're gonna stay up all night tonight. And he was always the first kid to fall asleep. He'd be snoring like Rip Van Winkle by, like, 9:35. First of all, how can an 8-year-old snore that bad? Your nose is only 8 years old. How do your sinuses get that fucked up in 8 years? You sound like my grandfather sawing logs in a fucking chair on Christmas Eve. Sound like a freight train going through a tunnel in a mountain. And then you'd always have the one kid who had like medical issues that he had managed to keep hidden, like all 7 years you've known him, but they come out at the sleepover. He's like, just to let you guys know, I wet the bed and I have a boner disorder. First of all, if you wet the bed, you really need to bring a nicer gift. I'm not sure these Legos are worth getting pissed on. And he'd always fall asleep first, and you'd always play pranks on him, right? And they were like 8-year-old pranks, so you thought they were like horrible, but they were like the lamest pranks ever. You're like, let's put mustard on one of his toes. And you always had the one kid that like was like really melodramatic because he had just watched way too many movies. Like, we can't do that to Josh. He's our friend. We love him. And then when your parents went to bed, there'd be like three of you still up. And there was always the bad kid. Does your dad have a gun? Dude, we're 8. What is this, Thelma and Louise? You're already planning a crime spree? We don't even have pubes. That kid was always arrested by like 10th grade. Did you go up and try to watch like HBO? Right? But it was like scrambled, so you try to see like a nipple. And they're like, do you see a nipple? I think that was a nipple. That was either a nipple or a pepperoni pizza. You'd always have the one kid tell some, like, ghost story, but he'd always fuck it up, right? He's like, and then the babysitter opened the closet, and the guy with the claw was in the closet, and he ran away. You're like, what? What guy with the claw? He's like, wait, I fucked up, wait. Did I forget to say about the guy with the claw in the beginning? Yeah, you forgot to mention the guy with the claw in the beginning. That's why when he magically appeared in the closet, it wasn't super duper scary, you idiot. And then 2 kids would always get in a fight. And then they'd be crying, snot be dangling. Why'd you hit me with a rubber band? Your dad would come down in his tighty whities. God damn it! Your dad would just go off. Why'd your dad always go off? Like, we're 8, we're having a slumber party. It's like 11:30. Like, how are you so tired? I gotta work tomorrow, motherfuckers! The next morning, your dad was like all cheery, like, hey guys, how'd you sleep? Just completely ignoring the fact that he verbally abused all of us. Dad, we're all terrified of you. We're eating these eggs in silence. We're scared you're gonna beat us. Even Jason heard you, and he was snoring and has sleep deafness.